And we're live. What is up, everybody? Welcome back to A Certain Point of View here on a Sunday. We're here. We're excited. It's been a hell of a Schmoedown week, and we're here breaking down everything. And the whole crew's here. Molly, Brian, Jill. How's everybody doing? It's Sunday evening. Week's about to start. Everyone good?
I only got 2 weeks left until it's summer vacation.
Oh, that's right. You're a teacher.
Yeah.
But my summer vacation this year is only like a month, so it's not that
Ew,
great.
why?
Because I don't know. So, I don't know.
Gross.
They're just mean that way, I guess, this year.
Ew. Ew.
But I'll take it. Although, it's not that great because I have to move at some point, too. So
That's right.
it's like,
Yeah, I forgot about that. Mhm.
I mean,
We'll
at least it's the right time of year for you to move. You won't be in school.
I mean, yeah.
hopefully. Yeah, so we'll see.
Yeah.
Anyone else?
Ladies, how's everybody doing?
I had a pretty good weekend. I'm continuing to go out and hang out with people and make plans. We did this like beer tasting thing last night and
I'm
played a
so
bunch
jealous watching your story.
I know. I was watching
Jealous.
too. I was like,
It was so nice because there were only 5 of us, and we would just crack open the guy's house that we went to. He's been collecting these craft beers over the entire quarantine, so he's got a lot. And we would just pick a number out of a bag, and he had written them all out, and then we would all split it, and it was like a ton of like really tasty stuff. So we did that yesterday, and today I went and got a drink and some apps with some friends.
I love
fun.
appetizers. Appetizers
too.
sometimes are better than the meals.
appetizer. I'll take it as an appetizer over dessert any day of the week. 100%.
They were Brussels sprouts, but they're very good
Oh,
Brussels
come
sprouts.
on.
I love
Brussels
see,
sprout. I had Brussels sprout appetizers last night. They
Ryan,
are.
you would like
the
them.
best.
They were like flash fried with like a sweet
Ooh.
balsamic glaze with some goat cheese on top.
I can't say anything because I've never actually tried them before. So
You're giving this face like they're disgusting, and you've
because
never
of
actually.
all the things you're gonna get for an appetizer, you're gonna get Brussels sprouts.
Brussels
Oh.
sprouts are
are you
delicious,
talking?
Brian. Don't
Yeah.
talk ish until you've tried it. You're not allowed to talk ish on anything until you've actually tried it.
I'm more of a mozzarella stick hoe. Hey,
He wants
Quiet down over
he wants to introduce his new sibling.
Oh,
she just got home. She just got
Oh,
home.
you need to show the class.
I'll text her to bring her in. Jill, hanging out with friends sounds very familiar.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
It sounds very familiar.
that sounds like a good time. I think that sounds pretty fun, actually.
I just
You
love
know.
the fact that you two hung out in person and we hung out via a Zoom at the same
We-
exact time.
we had way more fun.
I mean,
I
I
don't know about that.
I got dinner and a show at Scum and Villainy, so it was great. I was served a lovely Indiana Jones cocktail by a very cute Wonder Woman. It was good times. It was fun.
Interesting.
She had way too good of a time doing that show for you. I must
She
say.
did. She did.
Yeah.
She was like, she lit an orange peel, and then the rest of the night it smelled like oranges. It was great. It was
You can't pretend to not be jealous of that.
it was
Please.
fun.
You just went to that basement bar. That sounds amazing.
Oh yeah, the basement bar does sound cool. But then we went to another like super hipstery, like whiskey-ish bar after we left Scum and Villainy, which that was fun too. So yeah, we hung out. It was fun. It was Sean and I's first time back in LA since the shutdown, and we hung out with Jake and Gabby, and that was because they were in town getting their new addition to the family, and so it was fun. It was a good time.
Yeah, it was a good weekend. It was a long weekend. It was a very long weekend because we did a lot of driving, but
I
it was a lot of
felt
fun,
so bad when Sean and I got in the car and I realized what time it was. I was like, I did not realize it was that late. Like we left at like almost 1 o'clock, and I was like, oh my god, like I didn't
Holy
even
crap.
know.
How
I
No,
didn't even
was
know.
the drive back?
So on Friday morning, we got up. We left our house at 6 a.m. and we drove straight to a cove on Big Sur, which is for you that don't know, it's Monterey. It's part Monterey. It's a big long 2-lane highway for like miles, which took us 4 hours. We hung out there for about 30 minutes or so, 45 minutes. Got to see the cove. Got back in the car, drove straight 2 hours along the coast to San Luis Obispo, had lunch, and then spent another 4 hours in the car to LA. And then we met Jill and Sean for a hangout that night. Didn't get home till about 12, 1 o'clock.
Yeah.
And then drove back today for a 5.5 hour drive. So took the shortcut today.
God, that's good. I just felt so bad. We got in the car and I was like, oh my God, I would have left so much sooner. I did not realize what time it was.
I didn't realize how late it was, but the second Gabby got in the car, she just knocked down.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. But like, it's a test. I mean, we were having so much fun. We didn't realize what freaking time it was. So what are you going to do?
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever heard Jake stay up that late before, ever.
I haven't stayed up that late in a hot second. It's been a while.
Alex hates it when I fall asleep and it's just two of us and he has to drive home like with me asleep next to him. He's just like,
oh, that's the opposite for us. I'm the one driving and Sean will be asleep.
All right. Well, we have a jam-packed show, ladies and gentlemen. We have a lot to talk about tonight. This past week in the Schmoedown was quite crazy. We got 5 incredible matches this past week. We're going to be talking about 3 of them throughout the night. We are going to start with the pay-per-view. And so we're going to start with a couple matches there, and then we will get to the Danger Zone and Rushmore match later on in the show because we have not discussed it. And we obviously have Mr. Ben Bateman joining us as well around the 7 o'clock hour. He's finishing up his show, doing some things, and then he'll pop on here, hang out with us, talk to us for a little bit. So let's just start it off, guys. We had this pay-per-view on Friday, which was huge. I know a lot of people the past couple weeks have been calling it. It's the Corruption Invitational. They swept the board yet again, and it kicked off with an incredible match between Marisol McKee and Janine the Machine. These two ladies absolutely showed up in every facet they possibly could have. It was the match we were promised in every way. And Marisol McKee walks away with the victory on this one, a very narrow victory. And we're going to break it down right now. Just overall thoughts to kind of start this off. Jill, I'll let you kick this one off. This was special for a number of reasons. What did you think of this one?
This match, for me, this has been the match of the year so far. If you don't think this should be in contender for match of the year, I don't know what match you were watching, because this match, Janine literally had a perfect game up until her last question, and Marisol didn't miss. She went to multiple choice once in that entire match. She didn't miss a question. And I think for all of us Janine fans, I think Roxy spoke for all of us when she was talking to Janine throughout that entire match. I think that's how we were all feeling, just seeing how excited Janine was to get a perfect round 1. And I think she even said it, first time in 4 years she got a perfect round 1 and continued to go perfect throughout in that entire game. And I just watching her play, I was so freaking proud of her, because I'm a Janine stan. Like, I love Janine to pieces and I always root for Janine. And to see the way she played was just freaking spectacular. And again, Marisol did not miss a question. These are 2 fantastic competitors that went literally head to head until the very last question. And while I'm stoked that Marisol took that W, stoked that Marisol won. I love Marisol, but also I love Janine, and it was so heartbreaking for her to go perfect only for that win to kind of just barely slip through her fingers. But I agree with, I believe Roxy had said that had she been playing 90% of the other Schmoedown competitors, Janine would have won that match. She just happened to play Marisol that day. And I agree with what Marisol said. It was very a la Clark Wolf, that there is no women's league. We are the league. This was not just 2 amazing female competitors. These are 2 competitors just completely just dominating and going head to head, and you didn't know how it was going to turn out. And this was just this is one of the best matches that we had this season. And I can go on and on and on, but I loved every single minute of this, and I want more. Give me more Marisol. Give me more Janine. I'm excited to see Marisol against Kevin Smith, and I'm excited to see whoever Janine plays next, because Janine's looking scary, and I'm excited for her, and I want to see more.
Great point by Cinefan here. It was brutal, but I'm ready to see the Machine tear through the singles tourney.
Yes,
with what kind of gameplay that she's been playing with. We talked about it at the beginning of the year. Like, we felt like this was almost like Janine was set up to have a great year.
Yeah.
And it's one of those occasions where record doesn't show what someone is really capable of. And she's been showing, kind of just like gradually that she is capable of so much more than what her record has shown in the past. And to someone in the chat as well, to what Jill was talking about, Marisol also got opponent's choice in this match.
Yeah.
She was also given opponent's choice, and she navigated dance films very, very well. Obviously, there was that challenge in the middle of that round as well. But Brian, this
Very
match,
good.
this was incredible to see, and to see these two ladies duke it out in such a narrow victory. You must have been pretty hyped about this one.
This was, for me, I was holding my breath like so many times during this match. I honestly forgot that there was another match after it. Because
Right?
I was just like so stressed by the end of it. And then just when it ended, I was like, oh, okay, the match is over. And then I was just like, oh my God, we still have another one to go after that. It felt like a belt match. And Janine put everyone on notice. If you aren't afraid of playing Janine, you better be afraid, because she came out swinging with the biggest baseball bat you could find and was just killing it throughout this whole entire match. She looked and played like someone that has won a belt. Like, it was mind-blowing how well she played. Marisol navigated through this match as best as you can. I mean, they both had excellent first rounds. Second round, Marisol got dealt opponent's choice. If you're getting dealt opponent's choice, your road's going to be obviously the rocky one. And if you're going to come out on top and win through opponent's choice, you battled your way through. But I mean, I would say throughout this whole entire match, the whole entire time, I was just watching Janine. She didn't even seem phased. Like, she literally was just answer. Like, I can't believe just how good that match was. I'm not going to disagree either. I mean, I'm still hearing more people talk about this match than the belt one. So I don't know. It's just that was an instant classic if I've ever seen one. And Janine made Marisol bleed in that match. Like, up until this point, Marisol looked untouchable, in my opinion. Janine came to play, and she showed everyone.
I know we're talking a lot about Janine here, but Marisol, she is on a path to put her up against someone like a Dan Murrell, someone like an Adam Collins if it gets there, a Roka or Bateman, because there's a lot of number one contender matches that are coming our way in singles specifically. She has one more match to go. Molly, I know that currently your faction mate holds the title, but a Marisol versus Dan match at this point is looking pretty damn even.
I mean, yeah, absolutely. I feel like this is the season that the term GOAT is going to get thrown around quite a bit. Like, the way Marisol and, people like Demolanta, just like some of the newer blood in the Schmoedown, the way that they're playing is insane. And I loved seeing these two face each other, and yeah, they were so locked in, they were so in the zone. They weren't like making silly jabs at each other with character work, which is fun, don't get me wrong, but it was almost more exciting to see them just go toe to toe. And I kept looking at the score and I was like, is this a Star Wars match? Like, have they missed anything? Do I know nothing about movies? Yes. Yeah, it was crazy. And I cannot wait to see Marisol play Kevin Smith because I can't wait to hear him say, do I know anything about movies? Because she is going to be the one to make him say that. And Janine, absolutely. I feel like anyone else in the league, probably she would have won. And I cannot wait to see her continue to do this well in a tournament.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's crazy to think that, I mean, Collision's going to have a lot of belt matches because it's the summer showcase, right? Like they're going to put everything on the line. And just like Spectacular, you have one or two matches that isn't a belt match, but is just as highly built up. And right now, the first one is Marisol McKee versus Kevin Smith. And that's insane, right? And I know a lot of people in the chat would be like, Janine's a tougher opponent. And that's fine. You have your feelings towards that. But Kevin Smith at the moment is 3-0. The dude's a director. You watch his films probably all the time. He might not be like the quote-unquote Schmoedown player like some of these people are, but he's going to put up a fight against Marisol. And also, you got to think he's also playing the questions half the time as well. So that does play into favor. I did want to mention, because we haven't talked about it, they've both been perfect in round one. Both of them.
Yep.
When was the last time we saw singles players both go perfect in the first round?
Been a hot second.
It's been a while. Like not even maybe was it Collins versus Merle 1 last year?
I think so.
Maybe.
Yeah.
So we haven't seen it this year yet, maybe.
I don't think we've seen it this season.
Yeah.
Regardless, that was crazy.
Yeah.
To see them both do that. Marisol and Video Drew did it.
Oh,
thank you. Thank you,
guys. You can always count on the chat to correct us when we're wrong.
Again, Marisol's involved in it. I mean, she is proving to be an elite player in this league in such a short fashion. Remember, she was drafted last year, but we didn't see her till the singles tournament. Like we didn't see her halfway through the year last year. And to see her rise so quickly is pretty incredible. I'm very excited. And I loved how confident they both looked as well, especially on Janine's side, because we know how much she struggled in playing certain opponents and whether missing one question that just kind of puts her over the edge. Great match, and I cannot wait to see what happens, especially for Janine, who she plays next. I'd be scared.
I agree too. Like I saw a bunch of people bringing it up in chat. Roxy was great in this match. Her reaction to how well Janine played was...
She was already crying in round 2. Like, she was already sobbing.
The first time we saw her, she was like...
she was like,
tears rolling down her face.
Just take me off screen. Yeah. She was already sobbing. Like, the first time we saw her. She was all in on it. She was... It was cool to see.
Yeah.
William, you are correct. The only missed question was the 5.
Yep.
The only missed question was the 5. Which is absolutely incredible.
Again, and I've said it a lot, Marisol, or that trade that Shannon made is looking pretty good still. Everyone that was...
I think it's looking better. I think there shouldn't be a single bad word about that trade going forward.
No, there isn't.
No.
But, I mean, just remember a few months ago, what are they doing?
Yeah.
Don't we look stupid? Whoever thought that was a bad move.
I thought that trade was brilliant, but I also, you know how I feel about Marisol. So I mean, but that trade was brilliant.
Yeah, and I mean Roxy for grabbing Janine, steal at this point.
Yeah,
I cannot wait to see who she plays next because. I just can't imagine what we could see.
She's gonna come into that match with like so much just like like I want to win, dang it.
Absolutely.
I want to see her play a old-timey veteran. Not like
so Roka.
Jesus. I didn't mean that. I just meant someone that's been around for a while. Roka would be an interesting one to see.
Roka would be interesting.
I would just like to see Janine play someone that has been around for a while, and she's been around for a while too. But like one of these ones that people are like, oh, on Mount Schmoedown and whatever, because I'd be terrified if I was going against Janine after what I saw.
I think her and Roka would be a really solid match.
So I was thinking while you were talking, and keeping Roka out of it because he has that number one contenders match. Bibbs.
Oh.
Yeah.
See, I was thinking JTE.
We've seen Bibbs play a perfect game.
Yeah.
We've seen Bibbs play a perfect game. I think
we
he's
haven't seen JT in singles this year yet.
We haven't seen JT in singles. I do want her to play not a rookie. I think we all agree on that.
I don't.
A couple people in the chat are saying, or a couple people are saying Riley.
Yeah,
Riley. Yeah, Riley would be a good one. There's a lot of even the kid.
There are a lot of them.
The kid.
That's a good one.
Yeah. The kid.
I mean, and Brendan came off a loss. He lost his singles match this year, which we have to take into account.
There's
a lot. There are a lot of them.
Liz Shannon Miller would be fun too.
Liz.
Paul Preston.
Paul would be
That's
fun.
a good one.
Yeah.
That's
I mean, he
really
won, but still, it's like Gene just played essentially what was a number 2 contenders match in a way. And that'd be great. McWeenie would be good.
McWeenie. Ward.
That's not a bad one. I was thinking.
Thank you, Brian. Thank you.
Oh, wait. We'll get to it later.
Apparently JT has played.
He played Goddard. That's right.
Yeah.
Oh, JT. I think JT and Janine played a number of years ago when he was playing, I think. If I'm not mistaken. I'll look.
I don't know.
Could be wrong.
But either way, someone that we, like Jill said, not a rookie. I don't want, or someone relatively new. I want to see her go against one of these names, vets, even though she's a vet. I mean, 4 years, for God's sake. That's
exactly. She needs to play another vet. She's been here for 4 years. Because I would be scared to see
Too soon.
I like that McWeenie one, though.
McWeenie's a good. He's coming off a loss.
McWeenie would be a good one.
Yeah, he's coming off of a loss, which is something to account for. That's kind of how matches are paired, essentially. There's a lot of options. There's definitely a lot of options. So
definitely
looking forward to it for sure. But let's move forward a little bit because we do have a lot to talk about before Ben gets here. And before we get to the IG match, we actually do have a slight announcement for all of you watching. We teased it last week on our reaction, if you're watching our reaction. And if you've been watching the channel for a while, something went down last June that we are very lucky enough to call ours on the channel. And we were very lucky to take part in something that was very special to a lot of people in this league. And so coming back on June 6th, it's a Sunday. We're going to be replacing one of our main shows for this one. We will be doing the second version of Ladies Appreciation Night. Ladies Appreciation Night is coming back June 6th at 4 p.m. Pacific right here on this channel because it will be quite a big stream. We will be joined by almost every single woman involved in the league this season. Players, managers, you might see some hosts or after show people popping in as far as interviews and stuff. But we are going to be involved, including there's going to be like 20 to 30 women on the show. It's bonkers. There's a lot of them. They're coming. We're very excited, but Ladies Appreciation Night will be back and we are very excited to do so.
And Molly's helping host this year. Yay!
Yeah. It'll give me an excuse to go back.
Except for when it's her round. Then we'll push her out.
Yeah. This is gonna give me an excuse to go back and watch last year's because it's like, oh, okay, well now I'm gonna be hosting this one. Jeez.
Yeah, if you joined us later on in the year, possibly when Jill joined us or when Molly jumped in on the stream, if you're new to the Schmoedown, go to the channel, search Ladies Appreciation Night, watch the stream. It's a long one, it's 3 hours, but I'm telling you, it's worth it. We had not just current competitors, but we also had the likes of Emma Fife and Rachel Cushing on and Christian and Mark stopped by to talk about the women as well. This one's big because there's a lot more women this year, and we reached out to every single one, and we got about we got like a 95% response rate. Plus, yes, I want to be on this thing. So there's going to be a lot of people involved, and we're very, very excited.
It's worth watching it again just for that Nerdonic promo.
Yes.
To be honest, just for that.
It is on the StreamYard. I could play it.
I mean, I'm never gonna say no to that promo.
Why not? To all 100 of you watching,
go for it.
Here's 2 minutes of Nerd Chronic glorious footage that was called "Ladies of Schmoedown."
There should be a women's league. There's no women's league. Yeah. There's no women's league. We are the league. We're in the league, and we're the winners right now.
Hiding from my future, never knew what I was meant for. Scared to take a step, cause if I left, then it would mean war. If I go to battle, will I make it back? And if I never do, will I wish I had? Cause no one ever thought that we could build ourselves an army. Got each other's back until we finished what we started. Kicking down the doors till the kingdom falls.
Rachel and I are coming for the belts.
We could be the warriors. They don't know who they messing with. They don't know we were born for this. We could be the warriors. They don't know who they messing with. So let them know who they messing with. We are warriors. Yes, we are warriors. We are warriors. Yes, we are
It's so good. It's so good. And you dropped that on us live, and I was like trying not to be a hop.
I made everyone because we did it right before we brought on Abby, Janine, and Video Drew, and as soon as it was over, we brought them in, and all three of them were in tears, plus Jill, and because we just dropped a bomb on everybody, and everyone was just like, "Oh my god!"
It was great. And I think we played it like 6 times that night. Like, it's so good.
Every time, yeah,
it's absolutely. So good.
And he finished it like 10 minutes before the show started.
Yeah. So again,
you want to know how much Nerd Chronic is a genius? He had messaged me 4 hours before the show that day. Said, "Hey, I'm working on something for you. I'll get it to you as soon as possible." 10 minutes before the show, here it is. I uploaded it, and it was uploading while we went live. I was like, "Oh crap! Is it going to finish in time?" And then I was able to play it. But yeah,
Eric's a champ, man.
Who knows? There might be a new one coming.
Don't put that pressure on that man.
Don't. He's doing enough. He has enough on his plate as it is.
True story. But yes, all right. So June 6th, it is a Sunday. It is 2 weeks from today. We're going to be joined by a lot of ladies talking Schmoedown, talking just everything in general. We're going to have questions for all of them, kind of conversation starters, but we're also going to be relying a lot on you guys watching. If you guys have questions for them, maybe specific people or just a general question, we'll be taking them. So start thinking of them, have them prepared for Sunday, June 6th, and we'll be here for probably about 4 hours hanging out with a bunch of ladies. It's going to be a lot of fun. So
it's going to be a party.
Really
get your wine, get your tissues possibly. There might be crying if another promo happens, or maybe we'll just play that one again, and I might just cry all over again. But it'll be a fun night. I'm excited.
Fans. Oh, so many fans.
So many.
Yeah, and instead of 1 week to plan it, 2 weeks this year.
Well,
actually, it's been more like a month.
I know.
That's true. I know. We actually had a lot more time this year to get it all.
Yeah, no, we got ahead of it this time, which is why we're able to say that we have quite a bit of ladies joining us.
Yeah.
So
this is the second annual one, and we'll probably end up doing a third annual, fourth annual.
Absolutely. More ladies are going to join next year. Maybe even new ones who we've never met before, never seen before, and we'll be able to talk to them on the show. But for now, they're going to be able to see a different side of a lot of these women that you've seen on screen playing Schmoedown from just a much more relaxed standpoint that really isn't talking about Schmoedown. It's going to be a very fun conversation. So
Consider
stay
it like
tuned
a
for that.
happy hour without the excessive drinking.
Or with.
True.
I mean,
Also true. Also true.
I like almost want to like make sure everyone has a fan. Just a fan for you.
ship everyone a fan. Just,
If I could give everyone one in person, I would.
oh my god, if Molly ever has a live match, she's gonna get like a Costco-sized box of fans and just
The crowd is like, yeah.
I'll go out on stage and I'll do this.
like a t-shirt cannon.
And
It's gonna be like a
everyone,
t-shirt
too.
cannon, but with fans, just like poof, just shooting it out to the people in the back.
Oh, I can't wait.
I need that to happen now. Whoever books the matches needs to happen.
All right, let's go ahead and move into this IG match, because this IG championship match, the third time that we saw these two face off, it was Konopik Kalinowski 3, went down on Friday, and it did not disappoint. I think we can attest that once again, as we've seen with many matches this year, question writing has been off the charts. It has been really, really good. They both stumbled in moments through all rounds, not just like the speed round or the last round. They missed something in every single round, except the betting round because it was only one question. But that's all about point differential. And walking away with the title for the third time, the first 3-time IG champion is Mr. Mike Kalinowski, getting a lot of good big points for his faction, getting back the belt that he has searched so long for. And he beat his ultimate rival in doing so. Molly, I'll start with you on this one. Konopik, Kalinowski 3. I know Mara is your faction mate, but this match, I mean, my goodness, was this a match?
Oh man, this was so nerve-wracking for me to watch. And also, yeah, the questions were insane, but I say insane meaning they were on the level of what you would want to see for a belt match. And you can see that because no one played a perfect game, which is always something that I'm harping on and on about, that if you're playing for the belt, you want to see people get tripped up, or at least, I mean, I do. But I loved how kind of like back and forth this whole match was. They both played great. I loved that, Mike took a little step back of his character work, because you just know that Mike and Mara have so much respect for each other, and like how much playing this game means to both of them. When that like potential challenge came up, or it was like something, the
first round,
yeah, and then maybe there was something else too, but I think it was the Pinhead versus Pinehead.
Yeah, Pinhead Pinehead, where
he was like, no, like I wrote it wrong. It's fine. Like that's, I mean, he was being very polite, which I was happy to see.
Well, and the fact that he probably would have lost that challenge. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that too.
It's so weird because I was like,
know.
would he have lost it? I don't think he would have lost it.
It's a different word.
Yeah.
I think if he had answered first, then and he said pinheads, if he had answered first and verbally said pinheads, but it was spelled pineheads, they would have given it to him. But because he answered second, it's like,
if you watch it, he turns around without like hesitation, goes pinheads, and he turns it back around, and then he kind of like
oh,
like he like double glances, like, oh, like oh, I wrote it wrong. And then Christian said, "Oh wait, can I see the board again, Mike?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, like I misspelled it." It's a very interesting conversation. It's a very interesting conversation.
It's a brain fart, but it happens.
Yeah, and I'm sure he'll talk about it on an after show somewhere, and we'll get an explanation for like what was going through his mind for that question. But
yeah.
I just watching through to like the post interviews and seeing Mara eat that cupcake, I was just like,
oh my god, I've been craving one.
I was bummed for her because I know how much it sucks to lose after working so hard, but I was also just so proud of her for what she accomplished, and just she seems to take everything in stride. And you know, she was saying like, I wouldn't be here if it weren't for Mike, and you know, Mike's the reason why a lot of people are doing IG, and you know, there's just so much respect between those two players that by the end of it, I was like, I can't be mad. I have to be happy for.
There's C.
No, never mind. Mike does not matter. Nothing matters.
Nothing matters now. Oh, look.
I can hear her.
The sounds.
She's a total worm. She's a total.
Look,
yes.
Look.
Yes.
Oh my god.
Hi. Yes. Okay.
Oh my goodness.
No, she needs to stay. No, bring her back. No.
Kyla's like, okay, my turn. Put me on your lap.
Kyla's like, okay, my
Look
turn.
at her. Happy birthday, Gabby.
They say happy birthday.
Hi, Gabby.
Look at her.
She's like, I'm gonna eat that puffy thing in the back of her head.
There you go. There's the cameo from Miss Ray.
Anyway, that's the show, everybody. We'll
Yeah.
see you next week.
Sorry, Ben
Sorry,
Bateman.
Bateman.
Sorry.
We should do like one of these. You know how like people that don't watch the Super Bowl watch the Puppy Bowl, just like where it's just a live feed.
A
of
POV
people
bowl.
watching
POV Puppy Bowl.
puppies. Just
I
do
want to
something
see,
like that.
just have everyone. Can we need, like I said, we need a Kylo cam. Now we need a Ray cam. We need a Hilo cam and a Pippin cam because I need to see that little.
Pippin Can
A-hole.
needs to be hit up high because he's just gonna start
'Cause
smacking
it
that thing.
Whack it off.
Pip and Cam will have to be, what are those things called that are like waterproof?
Oh, GoPros.
Yeah, it'll have to be a GoPro because he'll knock it in the dog bowl. He'll.
Oh my god.
All right, so back to Schmoedown.
Anyway, right, Schmoedown. Right. that's what we're
Apologies to all of you audio listeners who can't see what we're talking about. We'll get back to Schmoedown. So, but yeah, so look, this is a big time match for a lot of reasons, and we'll definitely get into the nitty gritty of it. But I do want to say, I had obviously wanted Mara to win. She was on my fantasy team. I was picking her. But I will give a lot of credit to.
Team, you say.
Oh, stop it! Stop it! We'll talk about that later.
The two-headed dog race became a three-headed dog race after this.
I want to give a lot of credit to how Mike kind of handled the entire match, not just the ending. It like we're talking about the challenge. During the challenge, he apologized to Mara and was like, I that's not what I was trying to do. Like,
Yeah.
Like he was being very graceful about everything.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, Molly, you said it. He kind of like took his character out a little bit, and you could tell that it meant the world to him to not just compete for it again, but also that it was again against Mara after what she's been through over the last couple years, and the fact that she's back in this position as well. And to be held in such a, you know, high regard of you're a 3-time champion in a division that the belt has been passed around so much over the last couple of years. And I know someone said in the chat that he's never actually defended it. That's fine, but he's still a 3-time champion. He is still a 3-time
he's
champion.
the only 3-time IG champion. So that
In a division that is full of the Rachel Cushings, the Kevin Smets, the Mark Konopics, he is the only one in the division that's able to do that.
And like I think that makes his character and just like his history even better, because it's kind of like a lot of ups and downs, a lot of highs, a lot of lows.
Well, how many times has the league changed when he's won it?
Yeah.
This man added over 100 movies to his resume in IG and still won the belt again. There's a lot of champions. You in any sport, you change a rule, changed how something scores or whatever, they never win again. The man won it the first year that the rules changed. So you got to give him credit no matter what side of the coin you were cheering for. So, and I completely agree with this.
I do not disagree at all.
That's big. And in every facet of the Schmoedown, I think it would probably be him and Roka at the top.
I was gonna say him and Roka are very
at the top. Dan is obviously the GOAT for winning and as far as like movie trivia goes. But when it comes to all of these wins, character, storyline, studying, impact, just what they have done for Schmoedown, I definitely do not disagree.
I mean, corruption's the reason factions. Sorry,
you're borrowing Kate's fanny pack.
My Southern came out for a second. Corruption. I mean, Mike is the reason why factions are kind of a thing now.
Absolutely, anarchy. Absolutely,
anarchy. Like he's the reason. Like corruption is the reason why we have factions. So and you can even add that to that. But yeah, I do not disagree with that statement at all. Him and Roka are definitely up there. For sure.
I could talk forever about Dan and not Dan. Well, yes, Dan. Mike and Mara and what they mean to the Schmoedown, what they mean to the Inner Geekdom division, just their overall presence and knowledge and like just their personalities. They're just amazing people, both of them, and just the level of work that people like them put into studying for this stuff is just above and beyond. And it like there's other stuff to life than Schmoedown, but they really take it seriously and it shows.
Yeah.
I mean, Mike, when COVID isn't happening, and I know it's back to normal now, but he's a full-time working actor. Like that's a big thing to deal with while you're trying to study for movie trivia competition.
Yeah, I feel like everyone in Schmoedown most likely has a full-time job that has nothing to do with movies, maybe.
Yeah, Sean, for example. I mean, I don't want to just bring him into the pit, but yeah, Sean, for example, he's got a 8 to 5, not at all movie-related job, and he's not the only one. There's a lot of people in this league show craziness that it's like they don't do this, like this isn't their like Monday through Friday thing, you know, and yet we get these players where it's not their Monday through Friday thing and they're winning belts. Like it's insanity to me. People are crazy. Y'all are crazy. I don't know why like how, what are you doing? Like I don't know, but anyway,
there's just something inside some people it's like, I know some movie trivia, I need to test that to the point where I am studying every day.
He literally drives up and down, has competed.
Yeah, he's all over the country every week.
I would say literally every corruption session he's somewhere new, and we're like,
if you watch his matches, he's in a new room every match. He's somewhere different all the time.
He's literally somewhere new.
Yeah.
Madman. So. He's a madman. and he's still in, like I said, he's traveling, but he's still in every single corruption study session. Like to peel the curtain a little bit, but like these people are I mean I can speak for corruption because I'm viewing these study sessions and they're y'all competitors are insane, man. I don't know how you do. I'm like, I come home and I want to take a nap. I don't want to come home and study. Like I'm like, I want to come home and eat and sleep. But it's like, oh, study session. I'm like, okay, like here we go.
I also want to point out that Shannon and Kaiser are big parts of this as well. Obviously,
yes.
Obviously, Shannon, you know, pushes corruption, and like Mike especially, because
yes, for obvious reasons.
For obvious reasons, and Kaiser just. He's the best manager, period. And
biased.
Yeah. He just cares so much, and he just like wants to help in any way possible. And you know, I think in their interview afterwards, Kaiser was like blaming himself for stuff, and that's just like
because he was blaming him because his camera wasn't working.
Yeah, because he had some camera problems, and I was like, no, like Kaiser. I know Kaiser and Mara have worked so much together, and the whole faction has, and both the managers for this match were great.
Yes.
I will say to the camera issues, if there's one player on Dungeon that it would be okay to have camera issues on, it's Mara. Like, the way that she approaches the game,
it didn't phase her.
Rare.
She was like,
no,
it's so rare.
She was just like, it's weird that you're not here, but I'm still going to talk to the black screen. Like,
exactly. Like,
fine with it.
it's so rare. But I will say to, Molly, to what you're saying, this match was so, I don't know if it's like a historical match, right? Time will tell on how we feel about it over time. It's definitely a great, incredible match. But if there's a big part as to why it can be considered it's the way that both Shannon and Kaiser were able to talk to them between the rounds.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, look, Shannon is a great manager overall, but she clearly, obviously has a connection with Mike that's a little bit more than all the other players because they live together, they have a life together. She can get inside his head like nobody else. Kaiser, he goes this full-blown sport coach on you, and he gives the most wisest words that you don't ever expect from someone like Kaiser. I'll be honest. Like, you just don't. When you look at Kaiser, you don't expect him to be the most inspirational guy in the room. You really don't. But he gives the wisest words you will ever hear. And whether or not players take to it, I was watching it, but like, man, I'm getting hyped. Like, let's go.
He makes you ready to run through a wall.
Yeah.
I would say Kaiser and Roxy are two of the managers who are the best at snapping people out of it and being like, look, wipe the score away. It doesn't matter what you've gotten so far, what you've lost so far. All that matters is what we're doing from this point on. And like, Kaiser's great at that, and Roxy is too.
Shannon just goes, snap out of it. And then
Shannon just yells at you until you're like, oh, okay, right. Yes.
Yeah. It works though. I mean, it works.
Well, that and a big thing that we've seen through Schmoedown for so long is people not trusting their gut, right?
Yeah.
The word gut on Corruption's side in this match was thrown around at least 5 times. And Shannon kept saying, Mike, you need to trust your gut. You have to go with what your first instinct was. That was the spin with DC. That was the points in the betting round. That was going first in the speed round. She made sure he was trusting his gut, and it paid off because if he didn't, he could have been out of the match early on if he spun away from DC, if he didn't go first in the speed round. Maybe he thought, there could have been something that happened if that didn't happen. But yeah, they are so important to this game. And Christian Harloff has said, you don't get rid of factions and managers.
I would like to know what ritual, sacrifices, whatever it is that Mike does to make the wheel love him so much.
I want to talk about that.
People
say
the same about Alex.
I want to talk about that though.
And I'm not dissing this down. I'm just saying the man purely has amazing luck. That it just literally always goes.
100% he has luck.
So I the comment went away because their comment's too far gone. But Nerd Chronic was in here and he said every time Mike's played in a IG title match, the betting ground has been DC.
Really?
Yeah.
How ironic.
Every time. On top of what he spins, obviously.
That's crazy. He has the best. He hands down has the best luck in the Schmoedown. Hands down. I don't think anyone will disagree with that.
But he almost did the Alex of like, do I take
well, and I want to talk about that because it was just so interesting seeing him literally land on his strength, and he had to convince himself to stay on that slice.
Yeah,
because both him and Shannon were like, okay, this is a championship match. They know this is our strength. They're not going to give us these like, here you go. Here's all these easy questions. So it was really interesting seeing him kind of have to convince himself to stay on DC, number one. Number two, at the end of the match when he won, he had mentioned that there's probably going to be a lot of fans that say, oh, he won because he landed on DC. Mara stole an answer from him in the DC category.
Yep.
Mara stole an answer from him in his strength. So if anyone's saying he won because he landed on DC, that is not the case at all because he had to go to multiple choice. Mara got a steal from him. So this was... and like Molly had said, it was great seeing it not be perfect, and it was great seeing it both of them kind of have like they both were like kind of struggled sometimes in this match, and that was really interesting to see with both of these titans in the IG division, really go back and forth this entire match, and just for me as a fan, seeing him have to convince himself to take his strength was really fascinating. And I mean, the arguments he made were not incorrect, and proved to be not incorrect because Mara got a steal from him. So it was just really interesting to me to see that whole dynamic.
I agree.
Yeah, anyone saying he won because of spinning that did not watch this match.
No, they just hear, "Oh, Mike got DC." Oh, of course he got DC. It's like, no, did you watch? Like Mara stole a question from him in DC. So
it is interesting about the betting round thing, though. That that's just pure coincidence, but I guess you could call it luck too. But yeah.
If he's not in DC, he's spinning James Bond, So like,
well, I want
a fickle mistress.
Yeah, and we'll never know this, but Kaiser and Mar were debating down to the wire on that betting round.
Yeah.
And the last thing that was said was Kaiser basically said, you pick, Mar, it's on you. So I'm wondering if he was telling her go with the 2. Go with the 3 or something, and she decided to go with the 1 on her own. I don't know if that's the case. Obviously, we'll never know. It didn't impact the end, but it was an interesting dynamic there between the two of them in that round.
She mentioned in her interview, her post interview, that like Dan had won a match once
betting 0
because he bet 0 in the betting round, and that like it feels like, oh, you have to bet 3 points, especially for like a belt match, and especially in IG and Star Wars. It's like, you got to go all the way, like or nothing. But not necessarily. I mean, it didn't work out this time, but you do not have to bet all 3 points every betting round.
No. Absolutely. And like I said, it didn't even impact the end of the game. It would have played out the exact same.
And for the love of God, every IG player watched Son of the Mask.
I think this is her second time getting a 5-point Son of the Mask question.
Just in general. In general.
And I know she's seen that movie, so it's, I mean, I don't know.
But you watch it, it's like Clone Wars. You watch it and then like you forget about it. Like it doesn't exist.
Yeah, it's not like you're sitting there going, all right, I want to make space in my brain for Son of the Mask. Hold on. Let me no. I'm sorry. I have better things to
Well, and that's what like Brian, like Ward said in the chat, and what people were saying in the live chat. I think she gets points for not knowing this question. Like points for her for not knowing it, for not knowing Son of the Mask. Like, so
it's a good point.
You know?
But regardless, that match was just everything you expected it to be, and I love that it was up, down, perfect, just all over the place. And I mean, I know people were saying earlier about how Mike like brought his character down. I think it's just more or less a respect thing with a lot of the players. Like, I know when Jake and I went to Comic-Con and saw the Mike and Rachel match, there was literally nothing but respect through that whole entire thing. Like, they were crying for each other. And there's a good amount of players that are going to, you're playing your friend, someone you have a lot of history with, and at the end of the day, that's what matters.
And I'll say too that, sorry.
No, I'm done.
I was just gonna say too that respect, that always happens behind the scenes. Everyone's chatting with each other, texting, DMing each other, whatever. Like, you can have the nastiest character work, but the respect's almost always there. Mm-hmm. So gotta keep that in mind too.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Except for maybe Roxy and Shannon. That's real. That's real. True story. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise.
No, seriously. Any
Brian
final
over
thoughts?
here just
yeah, of course.
Let's be honest. Whenever those two get together, you're just like, oh, this is gonna be like,
of course.
Yeah. And it's just like, you just get excited because those are two fantastic
they're gonna go out.
That have a great little banter going back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, before we move on here, we did get one quick Streamlabs from Ferris Muthana. Thank you so much, Ferris. As usual,
Ferris.
Simply just says hello, Ferris. Hello back. Thank you for stopping by, man. Appreciate it. But let's get to this. Let's look at this Friday afternoon match. This Friday afternoon match was a doozy. This was a big one. This was a perfect lead into what was a great pay-per-view event. And to join us to talk about this is one half of the team tournament winner, the upcoming number one contender match that we will see very, very shortly. He is the boss, Mr. Ben Bateman.
Welcome.
Guys,
Hello.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it. Happy to be here.
Of course. No, thank you for joining us. It's good to finally get you on the show.
Yeah, this is exciting. I've never been here before, so thank you so much for the invite. It's lovely to see you all.
Of course.
Welcome.
Well, yeah. Let's just get right into it. So this team's tournament's been crazy. It's been absolutely crazy. We've seen matches one, maybe two a week every time, and you guys are officially the winners. You're heading into this number one contenders match. First of all, how does it feel to you put together this super team and you have this success of winning this tournament, beating Roka, JT, Rushmore, and heading into this number one contenders match?
Feels great. It's 100% the thing. It seems that in the Schmoedown, I have been able to find the most success in. It's tournament competition. It's the place that I excel, I guess. Those the big matches for whatever reason have come and gone, but tournaments seem to be the place that I'm most at home. So it was nice to be able to bring that to our faction and to get to know my partner. Obviously, Dan and I joined this faction and became a team with pretty specific wants and expectations of what we were going to be able to do. But that doesn't mean that the competition you're going up against is not the best in the world, and they are. I mean, everybody we're playing is incredible. So it was a good feeling. It was a good feeling to get out of these 3 rounds, and now we're in the hunt.
Yeah, I know, and it was definitely exciting. I mean, there were some nail biters. That ending to last match was incredible. Molly, I'll shoot it to you next. Your fellow faction mate, you got something for him?
I mean, first of all, fantastic job.
Molly.
So proud. So I rewatched the match today, and I was just in awe of how you guys managed to navigate your way through that opponent's choice second round. What was going through your head first when you got opponent's choice, and then with the category that they gave you?
Well, we were able to build such a good lead after round 1 that we kind of knew, okay, if we get the hardest martial arts questions in the world, we still can maintain at least a 1-point lead, and we believe we're a better team. So you don't want to have to get 10 points in the final round to win, obviously, but we knew that if that was what was required, that was what was required. So at that point, you do the math, right? And that's just something that I spend quite a bit of time with Kaiser and with Dan, and it's one of the fundamentals that I try to bring to anybody who is in the dungeon. Is that type of stuff is doing the live calculation of what you actually need out of the round. And so it's an interesting round for us because there's a version of that round where we end up getting like 10 points if we have to be more aggressive based on the point totals. Tony Jaa and Ongbak, for instance, I know that is the lead of Ongbak. So if we have to guess it, we will. It's the same with Bruce Lee. It's the same with, in fact, most of those questions. Rizza, every one of those answers was either in our discussion or one of us had the instinct that was the correct answer. But because of the lead, and given that there's 6 questions, you figure you're going to get, like the Hillary Swank question, at least one, if not more than one question that you'll just know 2 points on. And it would have been nice to maintain more than 3, but if you can't maintain 5, then at that point it's kind of irrelevant because it's going to probably come down to the 5-point question anyway. Mm-hmm. That was just a hyper cautious way to get through the round. What's interesting about that is that if we go for it, let's just pretend that we go for, I don't know, on the Tony Jaa answer. Let's say that we say Tony Jaa because we know Tony Jaa is the lead in Ongbak, but we don't know that he plays a character named Ting. In my mind, he plays a character named Ongbak, the Thai warrior, which is the name of the movie. That's then just, I'm assuming that's the lead of the movie, even though I know well enough to know that Tony Jaa is the lead of the movie. But so I don't know the genre that well. What if the villain in the movie, it's his long lost brother and it's played by Joe Taslim or some other big martial artist who's hot right now that we just saw in Mortal Kombat, and I don't know that. Yeah. So we say Tony Jaa, we're incorrect. They get a 2-point steal. Now we have a 4-point swing. Now we're desperate the rest of the round. I think it's another reason why I always tell players, and I've said this online so many times, you always spin second if you can avoid it. Like every single time for exactly what you guys just saw. We had so much information to work off of to know what we could and couldn't do in that round. We had the luxury to play the way we played. And ultimately, though we didn't get as many points as we could have, we still ended the match with 100% accuracy and, trusting each other the whole way. And I was proud of it. It would have been nice to get more points there, but you don't have to sometimes.
Sure.
A win's a win. A win's a
Yeah.
win.
Win's a win.
It works, especially at that point, team's final. I mean, a win's a win. So,
I imagine when you play Schmoedown, Ben, that it's that GIF with all the math equations.
literally.
Hangover.
Yeah.
That's fair.
I don't know. Sometimes
Literally.
it works, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes you get a little spooked. Deception was the worst version of that, So it worked out, but that second round was scary.
Oof.
Brian, do you got anything?
Yeah, so I like the not so much match questions, but so when you first heard that JTE and Roko were going to be named Rushmore, what was your immediate thought?
Brian's still over here just stirring the pot.
Well, and the funniest thing was when Mike heard it for the first time, and he just was like, "The balls on that computer!" Like,
no, it's funny. I mean, here's the thing that's really interesting. As I saw in the Facebook group this week, there was a poll posted that was like the classic conversation of now who's on Rushmore because of Mike being a 5-time champ. And I've been saying this for such a long time. I know that I have committed a lot to this game. I know and I believe wholeheartedly that I have had a greater impact on the Schmoedown than a single championship. That being said, when the end comes and I'm done and I've retired, that impact stuff becomes this intangible quality that only people that were around during that time will actually have any respect for. And it is just about your championships. Molly, you obviously know from talking to Alex so often how meaningful it is to have that many wins, to defend the belt that many times, just to have that knowledge that he has gotten to that level. And so I do accept and respect the fact that with a single championship, Mike's got 5 championships. Roka's got 4. Even JTE with winning the title and defending so many times with the Patriots. I think JTE's not on the actual classic 4 slots on Rushmore, but JTE's legacy in the league is far greater than mine in terms of championships. I mean, they defended a title a ton of times. And while I think the competition was different, you also play to your competition. So, yeah, I mean, Roka's on Rushmore. JTE is somewhere near Rushmore. I think it's an unoriginal idea, but I think it's the best those guys can do when they're trying to come up with something is that they can lean on the fact they have some legacy in the league, and it's what they're going to do. I don't know. I mean, I didn't think they were going to beat us. They didn't,
it's fair.
That's fair.
And that's the tea.
Okay, so then where did Danger Zone come from?
Danger Zone came from someone in the chat in one of the shows. I can't
Really?
remember. It was where it first had come from. Somebody suggested it in a chat, and then I think I talked to Christian and I, floated it to him, and he kind of liked it, and we talked about it more and more. And we're working on all these funny names at the time for the team. Like Kaiser and I were trying to come up with all these things, and we were coming up with all these like super metal sounding names, like
Of course.
Death
course.
from Above, and all these like sweet names. Like,
Death from above?
Angels of Death, and like
Oh my god. I
And
love
talked to
it.
Kaiser. Yeah. And I talked to Kaiser. He's like, those are pretty sweet. And then I talked to Dan. He's like, I don't know if we want to go with something so dark, Maybe
Oh, come on. Death from
I can
above
see
is
Dan
great.
like death from above. I don't know.
He's like, that's kind of intense. So we kept working on it, and finally, there's the Danger thing, there's the Tom Cruise thing, there's the Top Gun stuff. It fits. It kind of checks the boxes. And so I think we've enjoyed it. It's a much more fun name with an edge. It doesn't take itself as seriously, which I think is nice because we take ourselves pretty seriously, but we try to have a pretty good time. I mean, Dan and I definitely we definitely try to bring as much of a laugh at what we're doing as we can, as evidenced by how many times I laughed at Roka.
Yeah, it's more so laughing at your opponents more so than just laughing with Dan, which is always a good time. Jill, I'm going to come to you next. I have a couple super chats I want to get through here. Will Watson stepping in here. Didn't want to miss a chance to support the View crew, and then he came in with another one and said, "Dungeon tourney champs with Boss and Dan, and Maverick is the future Star Wars champ. So proud to be part of the crew. # Future Faction Champs." And then the manager of the Future Faction Champs himself. The Dungeon owned the match and owned the mic. Go to bed, Jeffrey can't. Talking to King Khan himself. So
Kaiser.
there you go
Oh,
from Kaiser. We always love Kaiser. We love Kaiser.
Miss you, Kaiser.
Jill, did you have anything that you wanted to ask?
I do. I think I want to ask the most important question first, which is what you drinking?
Ooh.
I got a little Jameson. It's just Jameson. It's just Jameson. Straight.
It's
Jill
like we're
just
back
died.
in.
Jill
It's
just
like we're
died.
back
won
in
Jill's
studio, Ben. Oh my gosh!
Get the job
It's like
done. It gets the job. We're not far. We're not far from it. Yeah.
I know. It's like we're back in studio. And I need another handle, man. We're almost back in studio. Anyway. So after making it to the finals of the teams tournament, just how deliciously sweet was it to take that victory over the Finstock Exchange?
It was pretty sweet. I think you can see. I think you can see in the celebration that we have at the end of it. It's really funny because for JTE and for Roka and for Finstock, I have a different feeling for all three of those guys. And there's like sort of my in-game feeling, and then there's like my personal feeling. And I think beating each of the three of them for those reasons means something different. And the one thing, that I think is consistent between all three of those guys is they have this real, we're the best, we have this edge, we're going to be, real dicks. And like, it was just this thing that they kind of wanted to bring. And I think that works really well as long as you're winning. But as I know from somebody who's talked a lot of shit and hasn't won every time, it's tough to deal with when you don't win. And this was the match. I mean, this was the match, right? Like I'm going to beat Roka in a couple weeks, and that's going to be important. But this was Exchange versus Dungeon. I think everybody kind of knew this was one of the big matchups to circle, and there was no title on the line, but there was bragging rights on the line. So going into this match, for me, it was like, I don't know. I think there was this part of me that knew we were going to win, and I wanted to go in with the attitude of I knew we were going to win, and I wanted to lord it over them the entire time and then win. And we did all those things. And it was just everything I could have wanted it to be. I don't really want to act that way to most teams. Most teams I want to go in there prepared and ready and dialed in and appreciate the win. This one, it was just like, there was some intangibles involved, I guess.
And then I also want to know, at the beginning of the tournament, what was the first thing that went through your mind when you saw the brackets and realized that the only team that was a veteran team was only a year old in Deception? So what was going through your mind when you saw that all of these teams were literally brand new teams in these factions?
The first thing that came to mind was that Deception was the biggest question mark, because we all know anytime you're new at something that you care about, you have to deliver and keep showing up before people will take you seriously. But they had both put in some real work, and I knew how real of a possibility it was that Deception was going to be the hardest challenge in the whole tournament, that they might in fact be the team that should have been on the other side of the bracket for us, and that for us to make the finals, we were going to have to beat this team. And so then after the first round, it was very clear that was exactly what I had thought, and that was correct, that they were the best team in the tournament other than us. But looking at the other side of the bracket, the thing that kind of blew my mind about it was there was three of the teams on the other side that I was sure we could see in the finals. I was positive there was a version of the story that the outsiders won their matches. I know how good Paul is. I know how good Ben is. I know how committed those guys are. I know how much Rushmore could bring to the table and what they were capable of. And I especially know that if things go right for Lightning Time, those guys could clean up and win the whole thing. I was skeptical for Press Room, but you never know. But I was very aware of the fact that it could have been any of those teams, and any one of those teams could have had the story this year. But for us, it was about the difference in a 3-round match with elite teams and players now. And you guys are analysts, y'all follow this every week. You kind of recognize when you see the outcomes. With elite players and teams in 3 rounds, the margin is just paper thin. It's truly like the likelihood that anybody anymore is going to get like a spinner's choice or an opponent's choice and just knock someone out is very low if you're dealing with elite talent, because the elite talent protect their leads. They play smart. They protect their answers. They do the research. They take educated guesses. They don't choke in the moment and just not write something. They're always wagering a guess. And so I think for us, we just knew we were going to have to play the tightest, smartest game possible to get through this tournament. There was so many good players in it. And look, it almost fell apart against Deception, right? We tried to play as tight as possible. We still made a couple of errors in the second round. That almost cost us the match. Luckily, against Deception, we didn't lose. Midterms dropped one question, and against Rushmore, they lost to themselves, which was exciting and very fun for us to watch. They turned out to be the worst of the three teams, which doesn't surprise me at all. I mean, that round one was like watching Rushmore play this round against us, or these 3 rounds against us. It was just textbook. It was like Roka's going to be in his head. He's going to miss a question in the first round, and he's going to start panicking. We're going to fight through a tough moment and probably go perfect. These guys are going to do pretty well in round 2. We'll do well enough in round 2. And in the end, one of them is going to miss their 2 or their 3. I could just feel it. I don't know why. I just sort of knew it. And it was just exactly what happened. I mean, I think JTE is a much better player than Roka at this point. I think he's lost it. He doesn't have that thing that he once had, or maybe the league has just evolved so much now that he just is more of the guy that couldn't believe he beat Dan Murrell the first time and was just in shock. Maybe he's more that guy now.
Oof. I think Ben needs a fan. Molly, can you send him a fan, please?
Yeah. I can just start sending them out.
Ben needs a fan for all these. Yeah. Woo. I mean, if you say Roka's name enough, he usually appears in our chats. So, I mean.
God,
really?
please no! I don't want to. Jesus.
Yeah, he does. So
Roka watches your stuff. He claims to not watch anything that anybody who has less subscribers than him does. So.
Oh no, he's almost said on record that we are his favorite after show, but then he had to stop.
He did say on Raptor, and then he realized, oh wait, I have an after show on my channel. I can't say that. So.
Yeah.
Oops.
But, I'm playing him in a couple weeks. He can get all fired up if he wants to.
Oof! I'm excited for that. I'm excited for the sassiness from both of you in that match. I'm excited for it.
That match is gonna be wild. But Brian, before I get to my question, I know you had something else you wanted to ask.
So, obviously, you're assuming you make it through on your side. Had you made it to the finals and it not been Rushmore, would that have would you kind of been a little bit like, oh, damn it, like we wanted them just to shut them up, or would you just been like, all right, whatever?
It's so interesting because each of the teams on the other side of the bracket, Rush press room, our feeling would have been this is the most green team. This is the team with the least real understanding and dedication. So we expect just less of an A tier game from these guys. So that would have been, surprising. But if they had gotten to that point, there had to have been a reason. I think Lightning Time is a team that possesses the most raw knowledge of all the teams on the other side of the bracket. So I think Lightning Time's a very good team. And there's a version of that team that goes perfect, that knocks you out, and you lose by one question, whatever it is. Outsiders was the team that if they were winning matches, I was the most, I don't want to say I was the most afraid of, because I wouldn't use that word for that team, but I know how serious Preston is about winning. I know how serious Goddard is about winning. I know how much they want it. And I also know how important it is for the two of them to represent greatness for that faction. I'm talking to them both. So if they had made it, I think that's a team that I could have seen. I could have seen them coming with some real underdog heat. That would have been hard to go up against, because you're so expected if you're us to beat those guys. Rushmore is sort of the perfect team because there's all this legacy and this heat, but they're also so clearly worse than us. So it's, if we lose to those guys, they get a lot of credit, and sure, we get people laugh at Danger Zone for going 2-1, but it's also like they deserve to be there, if that makes any sense. Like, they're the team that people expect to make it to the finals, so people expect it to be a big match. And I think for that reason, if that's the team that was going to make it, we were positive we were going to win against them, and it would have been the most sort of predictable match, which is that we would win. I didn't think they'd lose. I didn't think they'd give 13 points in round 1 to our 18. I mean, a 5-point lead after round 1 is crazy, but we played well that day. What are you going to do?
I wanted to step away from the match for just a second. I wanted to ask you, because you've, over the last 2 years or so, ever since you had joined the league, you've really invested yourself outside of the actual trivia play itself, right? You're doing backstage each week. You're one of the few people that you can go to for answers for a lot of things, as far as like rules or insight or any of that kind of stuff. So since you've joined the league, the Schmoedown has really evolved into something completely different that we've seen from the start. How does it feel to not just be a part of it, but also see it grow from an outside perspective and seeing all these new fans and all these new players and kind of what it's become now?
I think it's such a special and unique product that we have. I'm so proud of Christian for pursuing it and pushing it and continuing to believe in it and season after season to develop it and evolve it into what it's become. I knew years ago when he and I first had lunch and he asked me if I wanted to be a little more involved with the business and development. It was a few years ago now that I was working in a business capacity with the Schmoedown before Skybound acquired and became involved. I think he recognized pretty early on that I really understood what it was and loved it. And so I am really proud of the fact that not only do I represent somebody who champions this product and I think can explain it about as well to anyone but I've also been able to excel as a competitor, and I've been able to win. I haven't been able to win as much as some people have, and I hope to continue to win. But it's just I'm proud of what the league has become, and anytime that I commit more to it or I explain it to someone, I'm reminded of how unique it is. Because on paper, 8 years ago, if you pitch this to someone and you say, this is what I have in mind, this is what it's going to be, this is how seriously people are going to take it, it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense on paper that you're going to have these wrestling vibes.
I just tried to explain the Schmoedown to my new boss at my new work, and I was trying to explain it to her, and I sounded like she thought I was crazy. I'm like, so it's movie trivia, but there's like wrestling characters involved, and there's belts, and she was like, yeah, okay, like just so lost. I'm like, you have to watch it to really understand. Like, I completely get it.
It's a very unique thing, yeah. And so I think because there are some people who have moved away from it and have stopped paying as much attention to it, both players and fans, I'm really excited about what it's become, and it means a lot to me to be somebody who, as much as I do recognize that when I stop playing, if I only have one title, that will be what I achieved, and that's just true. I mean, but I also recognize that it's important and significant that I do represent more than just one championship. I think there's not a lot of players that get that luxury to believe that and know that that's true, and I think it is. So.
Mm-hmm.
I did want to bring up this comment from Brian Ward real quick because this is just amazing. He thanks you because he doesn't have to deal with Roka's hat anymore. So there you go.
I do have a question for Ben. So we had Dan on the other week, and we were talking about kind of what it was like coming in with you two as a team and being quote unquote this super team, as I guess you would call it, and we asked him, like, what did it feel like going into this? Like, what goes in your mind being really called this super team? And he explained that it really put a lot of pressure because him and Roka were also considered a super team, and we saw how that went for them. So how do you feel when you guys are dubbed quote unquote a super team? What goes through your mind when you hear that the fans are calling you guys that?
I mean, there's a lot of expectation. You know that people watch your matches expecting you're going to win, and if you don't, I remember after the first match we played against Midterms, it gave us a great match, those guys. And I remember Deception played their first match, and it was so funny because the comments of our match were, if these guys play like this again, they're going to lose. And we went 100% perfect, except I missed one question in round one. Dan went 9, I went 7, went perfect 12 in round 2, and we got 5 required in round 3. So we had an insane high level of accuracy. We had movie release dates. We went 12-0 in that category. Like, it was textbook almost as well as you can play. And I remember reading that and thinking, I mean, that's just what people think they expect. I mean, and they expect it because of our past performance, but they also expect it because of the way that we have kind of maintained throughout our careers. If this is the best ever, if this is Dan, and this is your entry-level player, we both kind of maintained here for the last 2 years, like just at all times, like really never dipped, he's gone to here a few times, but we've always stayed very close to that top level. And occasionally you have a bad match, but almost always you're winning or you're close to winning. And I realized after this match aired, and I thought back, I think I've played 44 competitive matches now since 2017.
Wow.
I think I counted it up. It's either 42 or 44. But the more insane thing is that since 2019, when the tournament started and I had my one really good run there, my singles record in that time is 7-2, and my team's record in that time is 6-2. So now at this point, over just since like fall of 2019, I'm 13-4. And I was thinking about the fact that going on 2 years pretty soon, I have lost 4 times in almost 2 years. And
Wow.
like losing is the worst. I mean, 2 losses to Dan. It's the absolute worst feeling. Like it's depressing. It's degrading. The Shazam loss is the worst loss. Like I hated that loss so much. But the truth is, when you think back to every time that you lose and then every time that you win, you go into those matches with the exact same expectation. You go in believing you're prepared. You go in believing you have a chance to win, that you've done all the work, that if things break your way, you're going to get it. And every player thinks that exact same thing. Every player that's 500 or every player that's just under 500 or just over, they think that exact same thing. And they know close to as much as Dan and I know. They just do. That's the truth. But it has to break your way. You have to get lucky a little bit. And I think for me, when I now think about being called a super team, it's like you just have to continue to maintain that. But it's 2 players that are both hyper aware of that. And neither of us wants to lose. Neither of us wants to get embarrassed. Neither of us wants to go out there and choke in a big moment. And everybody loses. So eventually we'll lose. Even if we win the next 10.
Maybe. Maybe. I mean, you might not. Who knows? I mean, you guys are scary. You guys are definitely scary. The super team title is definitely not given lightly. You know, you guys are 2 current and former champions. You know, you guys are scary. And I was looking at the tournament bracket, and I was like, oh man, I don't want to be the first team that has to have Danger Zone as their welcome to the tournament. Here's Dan Merlin Bateman. Like, good luck. Like, that's scary. You guys have you're proving that you are earning that moniker. So congratulations, man. And I'm excited to see more of what you do this season.
I appreciate it. It is funny to think about the fact that teams in the end has actually been my more successful division, yet I haven't won the team's title. Isn't that weird?
That is kind of weird.
I've been on 3 like quite good teams who I have won a team's tournament or been to a team's tournament with every team I've played on, but I've never won a title. So
well, maybe this is your season. We'll see.
Well, I mean, speaking of that, we did get a Streamlabs that kind of leads into that. This is from the K Wolf, and he or she says, "Oh, there you go." So he says, "Is that the future teams champ I see on screen, Ben? How does it feel knowing that you get to bring this corruption winning streak to a screeching halt, then crushing the outlaw in short succession?"
Listen. Just gonna drink my wine. It's fine.
This corruption match is going to be something special. You know, the last time I played corruption was 2018. They were a brand new team at that time.
Okay.
Wow.
They had just started. It was that tournament. It was that first tournament, and Riley and I played them, and it's a fun one. I got a lot of good heat for Chance during that match, and they choke a bit. Chance was not as good back then. That was before they had really kind of gone on their run. But I know I give Mike Kalinowski so much crap. I've done it for years, and I love doing it. But if we're all looking at each other with a straight face here, is Mike Kalinowski not the number 2 Rushmore guy now? Isn't he just number 2? I feel like it's just pretty obvious it's Dan and Mike.
It's up there.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean,
it's 5.
Yeah. He's the first 3-time IG champion. So how could you not put him up there? I mean, yeah,
I hate to give Roka credit, and he's probably number 3, but I don't think that Roka's ahead of Mike now. I think Mike's ahead of Roka. I think it's Dan, Mike, Roka is the 3, and then it's probably Cushing. But like you have, you're Cushing, Sam, Snyder. Like that's the tier. That's the next sort of mini tier that you're looking at. And like Mike has done so much, and we both know that Mike and Chance winning 2 more in a row here and getting that team's belt a 3rd time is something they could do. So I go into this corruption match with a totally different. I go into this corruption match with a totally different approach to the Rushmore match, because I don't think that these guys have any nerves in this match. I don't think that these guys are going to go into this match fearing what we're doing. I think these guys look at what they have and they go, "We're playing with house money." I think they're going, you know what? We should never have won 2 championships because Mike's not that good in singles teams, but we did. We did. We have 2 championships in teams, and you guys don't. I've never won a team's championship. Dan's got 1. These guys have 2. So I think they're looking and they're going, look, if we lose and we break up at the end of the year, so be it. We played for 3 years. We won twice. Like, I just think that these guys are coasting. We'll see how prepared they are, but they are a true threat. The best team in the league other than us is Shazam. That's pretty obvious. They're pretty clearly the best, but I think that corruption is going to be a very real challenge for us.
I'm not going to
Any words?
I'm not gonna. I'm just gonna stretch a little bit. I'm not gonna disagree in that statement.
You can put it away for one show. Come on.
But no, even if we were in a corruption household, I wouldn't disagree with that statement. I mean, I'm
not even disparaging them as a team. I mean, they're a ridiculous all-time team. They're ridiculous.
Yeah, they're like I said, if we were in a corruption household, I would completely agree with that statement. Like Chance and Mike are. There's a reason why they've been a team for going on 3+ years now. There's a reason for that, you know.
Yeah, them and Odd Couple, the last 2 left from Anna.
Exactly, and there's a reason for that. They're not going to just still be a team just because, you know. So it's I'm excited. I'm excited to see what you guys do, and it's gonna be a fun one, and I'm gonna be probably panicking the entire time, and there's gonna be it's gonna be one of those stressful matches, I'm sure. I'm like, what is happening?
Yeah, it's coming up soon, and we feel good about it, but we'll see how it all goes.
Oof. Is that this week?
That's Friday. That's Friday.
I was gonna say, is that Friday?
It's Friday, yeah. I think it's on.
It's Friday. It's the undercard to the team's title match.
God, that's the undercard. Yeah. Good Lord. Okay.
Drink your wine.
It's gonna be a fun Friday. It's gonna be a fun Friday. So, Molly, Brian, did you guys have anything else for Ben before we get to the POV question?
Well, I want to bring something up real quick. We all know you very well for the Schmoedown. You're a what?
We just don't know where you're going. That's
I know where she's going.
I'm going to Spotify. You are a verified artist on Spotify.
Yeah. That album is spectacular. It's so good.
Seriously. Yeah.
Your song "Sorry for Tonight" debuted on Spotify not too long ago. It's fantastic.
Thank you.
So good.
And I just want to say that your music career, I'm so happy for you and excited for you to go on tour. And like, how is it? I mean, this has got to be tough, but how is it juggling your music and Schmoedown together?
Yeah, it's a tremendous amount of sort of different kinds of energy that it goes into all the different things. And I sometimes will think about music and feel like I haven't given enough of that side of my brain because it's a much more emotional, creative side. Whereas Schmoedown, which is hilarious because Schmoedown's supposed to be about movies, which is this piece of art that I love, and I love movies. But Schmoedown now has actually become so much less about movies. It's so much more about math. Like it's about figuring out ways to analyze and cover different ground. I love movies more than anything, but I don't win matches in the Schmoedown by being able to talk about why I love certain movies. I win matches in Schmoedown because I'm aware of things. It's like informational. So it ends up being a much more, it's just a much more information-based game. Those two are very important. You know, obviously I do a few other things with podcasts and whatnot, and they all take a certain amount of time and focus. And then obviously there's the toy job as well. So there's a lot of things that I try to in a given day, like focus the bandwidth on. But the big goal and plan is to make the second half of this year really a lot about music. The reaction to that first song was so special. It was like one of the best weeks of my life. And the second song is this close. It'll be dropping here probably in a few weeks. And,
yes.
Yeah, and then the third one will be a few weeks after that, and then the album is later this year. So it's cool for you guys to listen and bring it up. I mean, it's something I've loved my whole life, but I only in this last 6 months have really, in the last year, I really decided to make this a big part of my career going forward, and the community really supported it. So that was really special.
Yeah.
Yeah, whenever
big
you're
congratulations. Big
yeah.
Congratulations. Yeah.
Next time you have a LA show or an Orange County show, you can count on Sean and I being there, man. It's we listened to the album release and it's just so cool seeing this whole kind of other side of you that I mean I don't think any of us have seen, and I'm sure a lot of the other viewers have never seen before. And it's you're good, man. Like you're really
I appreciate it.
it's you're really good, and I'm excited to see what you do with that too. And like I said, whenever there's an LA show or an Orange County show, you can count on us being there to support you.
It's really funny to me that the whole playing a heel and then like playing music thing, because it's if I was like a nice guy, then I think it would line up like a lot more. But because in the Schmoedown, people want to like I have such a punchable face in the Schmoedown, like people just want to watch me lose. Like people just
That is my
especially
favorite.
if you're watching the show and you're a fan of Roka, you probably like want to drown me right now. Like you guys.
There's been some comments.
Oh, yeah.
There's been some comments. Yeah.
And I get that, and I understand it. So it's you know, but they're separate things, obviously. And it is funny though, because this audience is so supportive that this is still the audience that I am promoting it to in a lot of ways. And a lot of this audience has supported me doing that. So it is funny, the idea of the boss singing, like the Miz is a musical artist in the WWE, and it's like kind of a joke.
Yeah.
And he like raps and stuff, and it's like he's such a dickhead. You know, you totally
I hate
his music too.
The Miz, you like you said, the Miz, you just want to punch his face in. Like he's
Yeah,
that guy. Yeah. But I mean,
Kind
but
of funny.
yeah.
We did get one quick Streamlabs before we ask our channel question here. It's from Malcolm. If I'm not mistaken, you once talked about having some form of photographic memory. Very handy for Schmoedown. When did you discover that?
Yeah, I used to say I've stopped referencing the sort of estimated percentage. I felt for a long time that I had like an 80% photographic memory, and
Wow.
I don't think it's actually 80% photographic. The more I've read, the more I've learned about memory and the art of it, the more I've started to figure out that like there are certain things that make certain things stick, and there are certain things that you can try to learn by rote memorization 100 times, but if enough time passes, they'll fade. You know, I think it's 70% of memory fades within the first 14 days. I think is the statistic that I read.
Wow.
And so you can lose a lot, but I definitely have figured out that there are certain things. I've described this before on various shows I've done, but when you get asked a question about something any of you guys know or don't know and trying to recall it, you know, the first second I ask you that question, there's a certain way your body feels when you get asked the question. It's easier to feel if you close your eyes, but even if your eyes are open, your body feels a certain way, and often it's in kind of your stomach or you can sort of feel like a trigger or like something like that. A lot of the memory books will describe it as seeing and feeling memory as a color. And I've sort of noticed that the more I've paid attention to it, you can kind of feel, like you can feel it. You can feel a feeling, or you see a color, and it'll kind of give you the sense of if the thing that you thought of first is right or not. Sometimes it's wrong. Sometimes you've learned the wrong piece of information, and that trigger is recognizing the wrong piece of information that you learned, and you'll guess that, and then you've been wrong every time, and that can be a problem in itself. But the majority of the time, if you look at Dan in the deception match, when we get asked that Barry Levinson question, and he says to me, I don't know. And I say, is it toys? Is it that horrible movie Man of the Year? And he goes, if you think it's toys, we should go with toys. If that was the first thing that came to mind, there's a reason. He talked to me about it afterwards, and he said, I've worked with you for long enough now to know you get asked a question, the first piece of information that comes out of your mind in the first 5 seconds, there's a reason. It almost is always the case that there's a reason. And that's sort of the whole 80% photographic memory thing, is that there's just these little pieces, these little seeds that are just somewhere way deep in. And I don't totally necessarily know if they're there all the time. I did all this reading in the off season about building memory palaces and all these different memory theories to try to understand how you could like more accurately organize information. I did a lot of stuff, and I talked a lot about it on backstage, that I had this whole idea that I was never going to miss a question. And at the time I felt pretty bullish on it. I felt like I had cracked the code. And on some level, I mean, I've played well this season, so it feels like I have improved, but there's the other side of it, which is just like organizing every piece of movie information ever into a memory palace is a pretty hard thing to do. So there's lots of different things that I try to employ, but I do think that the memory methods that I've figured out over the last few years have helped a lot. I've used a lot of different ones.
I think what you're referring to are midi-chlorians. And using the force, that's the feeling that you get.
Uh-oh.
I have a pretty high count, Molly. I don't know if you know that. It's on my Tinder profile.
Oh my god, if that's on your Tinder
man.
profile, that's brilliant. I like
that'd be a good dating app.
just put your midichlorian count on there. Solid.
God.
That's great. That's great.
Well,
Well-
use Tinder. I don't have a Tinder profile. I don't even think that's around anymore. But
I think Bumble is the thing now. I don't
Right,
I
yeah,
don't
yeah,
know.
yeah.
I don't know.
There's so many to count. All right, so our final question here for you before we let you go is we always have a channel question for our guests because movies have brought us together as a community, not just Schmoedown wise, but just people online. And we would like to know if you do have them, what is your favorite candy and what is your go-to movie snack, if they are different?
okay, candy and movie snack. This is the only question. This is the channel question.
This is
the
this
channel
is our
question.
channel question, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a hard one, I know.
Favorite movie snack. So I like a lot of movie snacks. I like a lot of candies too. Oh, geez, this is a tough.
I love how this is like the most difficult question we
It
ask
always
people.
is. It always
They're
is.
always
yeah.
like, "Oh God, hold on, let me." think
What's
about
more
it."
pressure too, because we tout it as the channel
Yeah,
question.
that's
that we
true.
tell everyone.
Okay, so I really like those.
Hold on, I need to bring this comment up. Yeah, thank you.
Video Drew's midichlorian count is off the charts.
Yeah.
We're never gonna get there.
Hi, Video Drew.
What are those? What the fuck is the name of that chocolate bar that I like so much?
Hershey's, a Crunch.
No, it's like really bougie. I'm really bougie. It's like
Baby
Toblerone.
Ruth, Milky
Toblerone.
Way.
A freaking course, you're bougie.
Toblerone.
it's like a. Oh, why can't I
Is
think
it
of
the
it? There's
Is it the gold ones with the hazelnuts?
Are you pulling a Bateman and pausing to answer?
no, hang on. I'll tell you guys. I'm gonna Google it because I can't think of the name offhand right now because I'm drinking. But
Yes. We're back. Oh man.
Chuck
I'm
said
sure.
Wonka bar.
okay. Ritter Sport Milk Chocolate Bar.
Oh,
that's the one.
that's the
What?
fancy
Oh, what?
chocolate. The
Yeah,
I've
fancy
never
chocolate.
heard of this.
There's like 25 different flavors. Ritter Sport, those things are incredible. For my favorite like store candy, the Ritter Sport chocolate bar is probably my favorite one. You guys know what I'm talking about. I
You would
it's
know
bougie.
I guess.
Never.
If I saw a picture of it, I'd probably be like, "Oh, okay, it's the rich
You
people."
know
candy."
it first. Yes. And if
What
you've
are
never had one,
those?
and if you've
They
never
look-
had one, fam, get yourself a Ritter bar because it's gonna blow your mind. Get the
Fam,
classic.
listen. See, this is why Bateman needs
I've
a freaking
never
fan. This is why he needs to be like, "Listen, like, get your freaking candy bar." Okay,
I've
I'm like
I
never
need
seen
to.
these.
exceptionally bougie. Just for the record. Yeah,
That's
those are
what
the ones.
That's what
I've
the like
never
logo
seen
looks
those
like.
before.
They look
I've
like-
never seen
Yes.
those. Yeah.
Oh,
Well, you're
They look
missing
like
out.
Ghirardelli squares.
Yeah, they look like
They're-
Ghirardelli.
they're not too far from it. They have like a biscuit kind of in the middle, and they're
Oh.
incredible.
Okay.
That's my
Hmm.
favorite chocolate like candy. And then movie snacks tougher because screening so many movies as press, you go and they give you a free Diet Coke and a popcorn. So I would have probably at some point in my life said movie theater popcorn, but I've just gotten sort of like, I would just say tired of it. It's like I feel like it's always kind of lukewarm when I have it now. So
Oh, we
I
get it,
actually
Ben.
feel
You're
like-
cool. We get it. You're a cool guy. We get it.
I feel like when I go to a theater now and I want to get a movie snack, if they don't have Ritter Sport chocolate bars, what I'll do is get my local theater. I actually like to get movie theater hot dogs. That's the thing. Like
Ooh.
they come in
Oh.
like the silver wrap. I'm
Yeah.
not a condiment guy, so I'll just like put a little bit of ketchup. You eat them in like 2 minutes. They like literally get done so fast.
Yeah.
I think movie theater hot dogs are probably my favorite movie theater snack.
That's
That's a
valid.
first. That's a first time.
That's
around
a
the show.
first.
Yeah.
That is a
Yeah.
first. But those are solid. I mean, especially when it's like you just get that. I get it. Like it's like getting a hot dog at like a baseball game. Like it's the same kind
Yeah.
of like. Yeah, I get it.
Next time you go to a press screening and they give you popcorn, you should be like, oh no.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Hot
I
dog,
don't need
please.
Give me that.
popcorn.
Give me that
Thank you
hot
very
dog.
much. Yeah.
Yeah, hot
The
dog
chat's
over
just
there.
like pretentious. Yeah, it's fair. It's a fair.
Well, that's because video Drew said this.
Drew, the macadamia and marzipan versions are not that good. You got to get the classic. Only get the classic. Milk chocolate and the biscuit. All the other stuff is fine, but the ones that, don't get the marzipan.
That's bougie. The other ones are bougie.
It's the first time we've ever had candy and bougie in a sentence together. So it works.
It is.
Yeah, it works.
And hot dog.
And hot dogs.
And hot dog. That is correct. Well, Ben, I do want to thank you, man. I know you're a busy guy. You, obviously, action industry, all that good stuff. So we can't thank you enough for stopping by, hanging out with us for a little bit. Finally able to get you on the show and kind of pick your brain a little bit. So just wanted to send you a big thank you, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you guys so much for having me on the show. I appreciate it. And a big shout out to Nefflinger. The hot dogs at Arclight were good. Rest in peace, Arclight. You guys, the chicken apple sausage with the pretzel bun, that was incredible.
Ooh. That sounds amazing. So, thanks again. And we're looking forward to, obviously, this Friday, the Roka match, everything that's going on the rest of the year. And good luck with everything.
Of course, guys. Thank you so much for having me. Best of luck. I'll see you guys soon.
Cheers, Ben. Have a good night. Thank you. Oh, Ben. Legit one of the nicest people. Like
it was
take away the heel, one of the nicest people.
It was great to finally be able to pick his brain, obviously, and he's very heavily involved. One of the more heavily involved people in this community as far as like behind the scenes stuff, and he obviously does backstage. He talks to a lot of people, and it was just great to finally get to talk to him and kind of get some answers from him. So
yeah, I mean the way he breaks down the Schmoedown and the process of playing.
How are you smuggling in wine? I'm sorry, Molly.
I've done that.
It's not. They don't check your bags.
Do people not do that?
Bags in movie theaters.
Who's not smuggling alcohol into their?
That's the real question. Who's not smuggling alcohol into?
Jake, I guess we need to start carrying purses to the movie theaters.
Oh, that's why.
Apparently.
Yeah, you guys don't have purses. I got my everyday purse, and I mean I haven't been to a theater yet.
Please tell me you have a booze. You have an everyday purse and a booze smuggling purse.
I have a big old purse that's basically a backpack.
I need to see this booze smuggling purse,
and I haven't used it in a while because obviously movie theaters. But yeah, I feel like almost every woman I know like brings a bigger purse.
Oh,
so they can bring their own snacks. You go
Alex
get those
is not
little
allowed
bottles
to
of
use
wine.
those.
Alex can't have crop shorts anymore.
He's not allowed.
It's a rule.
Ever since their first date, he's never been allowed to wear them again.
He got sidebar real quick. I bought a pair of like joggers from Target, and they have like pockets on the side, but they're like a slip material, and they're like this army green color, and they're cinched at the ankle. They're very cute. They're very like on trend. But
are they girl pockets or are they like pockets?
Jake, do you want to just come back?
They're basically girl pockets, but no, they're actual pockets, but they're they're not obnoxiously obnoxiously big. But
anyway, welcome to happy hour.
So my point is, I showed them to him, and I was like, "These are really comfy and cute," and he was like, "What the heck? Those are cargo pants."
He's like, "Molly, what the heck? I need my cargo pants back."
And I was like,
"Oh, guys, they're back."
Okay. I was like, "Not really." He's like, "Those are cargo pants. They have cargo." They have the cargo pockets. And I was like, I don't know.
Anyway, if you guys want more of this, happy hour is this Saturday.
Ooh, great plug. Plug it, Jill. Plug it.
Featuring myself, Sean Sullivan, the Damons, Molly and Alex Damon, and the Scrimshaws. It is Molly's birthday month happy hour. It's going to be a fun one. Have we revealed the activity that we're doing?
No.
Prepare to get hammered. That's what it is. Molly's birthday month. Hammered.
Should we reveal the activity that we're doing?
It's the last weekend that I can technically celebrate my birthday. Since, I mean, as soon as May is over, I got to stop.
It's up to you two whether or not you want to reveal what's happening.
Did you want to reveal what's happening, Molly, or do you want to keep it a secret?
Have we revealed the drink yet?
No, we haven't done anything.
No, it'll be posted this week. Yeah.
I mean, I think we've got a week.
Yeah. Okay.
No, less than a week. Let's do it.
Go for it. It's your birthday. It's all you, girl. Go for it.
So obviously, with so many cool people on the same stream, we were like, what's something like really fun and interesting that we could do? And they posed this to me, as my choice for my birthday. So we're gonna have a good old fashioned makeover party. But the boys will be doing the ladies' makeup.
Yeah.
So Alex and Sean and Mr. Joseph Scrimshaw and his lovely wife Sarah, who has agreed to do this. Yeah, tune in to. I mean, obviously, we're gonna have great conversation. We're gonna have our normal, just like random questions and stuff. But we're also going to put the boys to the test with their.
I'm gonna look
skills.
like a hot mess. I'm gonna be blue and purple.
Yep.
I think Sean mentioned he's gonna
All
get
the
his
clown
airbrush. His airbrush is gonna come out. I'm gonna be just like a Bob Ross painting. Like
That's what Nerd Chronic just said.
yeah. Okay, listen. Don't give him any freaking ideas, Eric. I swear to God. I was telling him, I was like, I'm gonna put my foundation out and like my concealer and all the stuff that you need. He's like, not gonna use it. I'm like, what do you mean you're not gonna use it? So
maybe we should put the spread of things that we're gonna give them.
I'm not
access
allowed
out.
to. I'm not allowed to.
Jake is Jake's not allowed to because he's too good at putting eyelashes on. Apparently, he knows how to put on a good pair of eyelashes. So no, because Gabby's gonna come out looking gorgeous, and the rest of us are gonna look just god awful. So no. Maybe next time. Maybe on a future episode.
Mm-hmm.
But
It's gonna be crazy.
Yeah.
It's gonna be crazy.
It's
Be
gonna be
prepared.
It's gonna be fun.
All right, so to wrap up the show, I don't know. Do you guys, since we are running a little late, do you guys want to do a little match predictions just quickly, or do you want to save those for the reactions this week? What do you guys
It's up
think?
to you guys.
There's only 2.
No, we have
There,
5
that's
matches
fair.
this week.
No.
Oh, well, yeah, the whole thing. But
We
because
have
we're
5
not gonna be
matches to
doing
preview.
Friday.
So
Well,
Well,
we
we
have
already
to do
know who
8
we're
or 3
picking.
because-
The first one.
Yeah.
Is anyone not picking Sean?
Is anyone not picking Sean? Because if you're not, you can just get off the show right now.
well, real quick, King, there's going to be a reaction coming out to this, which is why we haven't mentioned it, to the Danger Zone cutscene from Friday.
Leo, what Leo said, we haven't talked about Andraco.
Oh, well, okay. We'll finish the show with the Andraco talk. We'll finish the show with the Andraco talk. We'll take about the next 10 minutes. We'll save our predictions for it was a busy show, pay-per-view, Ben Bateman coming on. We obviously wanted to spend time with him. We'll save our predictions for the week. There is a reaction coming out to the cutscene. For those of you who are wondering about Friday's reaction, you'll see that this week. It's already up there. It's ready to be uploaded. But yes, the Andraco talk. This is obviously big, right? We aren't going to be seeing Mark Andraco going forward. He officially announced his retirement. And that leaves Friday as a big question mark because they were competing and defending their team belts, the Odd Couple. And this kind of came out of nowhere. He was pretty much put in a pickle by Grace. Obviously, things happen sometimes, schedules, work, stuff like that. And he's in a bind, and it's going to be very, very interesting to see what happens. But let's just talk about it quickly. Thoughts, kind of maybe what happened. Jill, I'll let you start this one off.
I was stunned. I mean, I think this is the first time, other than Whitwer, where we've had like a vacant belt, and it's even more interesting in this fact because it's a team's belt, So the belt isn't even really vacated. There's just a half of a team's belt kind of floating right now, So it's gonna be really interesting. I'm really curious to see because there has to be a replacement. Right? Like there has to be a replacement to do the match. So I'm really curious to see who from the stars is going to really step up, and be the other half of the Odd Couple. I don't think anyone was expecting this announcement, especially because Andraco's been such a staple in the league for forever. But he said it was nothing bad. It was all good stuff. So congratulations on whatever is happening in his life right now. It's all good things from what he's saying. So that's exciting for him and his life endeavors. But I'm racking my brain as to maybe it's gonna be Alex Damon. Maybe we'll see Alex Damon in the team's tournament. In your future team's champion, Alex Damon. Jacoby would be a really solid choice.
There's lots of options.
Well,
it's
and also to this, whatever decision is made, it's a big time decision.
Yeah.
It is a very, very important and crucial decision for the future of the league. That's more so where I go with it, just because whatever is decided by Grace clearly making the decision, it's like the comment said, it's going to set up the future of the Schmoedown on what happens whenever this does happen again, or if it ever does happen again. It's going to be very interesting.
Yeah.
I have no idea what's going on. I was just like, oh, okay. This is new territory for everybody.
Yeah.
So I'm very curious to see what happens. I'm sure it's being handled in the best way possible. It's not like they're just going to get thrown to the wolves, especially since they're the belt holders. So I'm just curious to see what's going to happen. I literally have no predictions, no idea. I'm just going to let this one play out and hope for the best. So we'll see. Very weird predicament. But like we all said, I mean, congrats to Draco for whatever good things are happening with him where he's put in this situation. But it stinks, but we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, same thing everyone else said. Always happy when people's lives are going well, you know. Yeah. Sometimes life gets in the way and it's more important, and that's okay. And I hope he's having a good time. But and you could tell when he did the announcement, he didn't want to do it. He was bummed. He, you know, obviously he doesn't want to just drop out, especially being one half of a team, and leaving, you know, his partner out there to have to match up with someone new or someone else, being the belt holders. But as for who's going to be his replacement, I have no idea. I mean, it would be awesome if Alex was the person and he's been hiding it from me the whole time.
Could you imagine?
Amazing for me to find out. I really want to know how Schneider feels about this and how Roxy feels, and just like to be a fly in the room for a conversation between Schneider and Roxy, assuming they get some say into who this is, or maybe, I don't know, maybe Grace is the one to pick who it is. Who knows at this point? But yeah, it's all very much up in the air, and it's a little scary. And I'm sure Schneider is feeling vulnerable and nervous, but I'm sure it'll work out and it'll be great.
The one thing that go ahead.
No, go ahead, Brian. Go ahead.
I was just to say, like, it's funny because the thing that I immediately thought of was she now has an empty spot on her team.
That too. Yeah. She has a spot to fill.
It's funny. I didn't even think about the MASH. I immediately went, oh, she's got an empty spot. So someone's coming up, I would assume, from FCL to fill this spot, unless it's just left open. So I'm very curious where that goes. I mean, it's the first real, like, opportunity for someone to get brought up from FCL. Does she go with a teams player? Does she go with a singles player? Maybe she wants an IG player. I mean, I think she's okay with Star Wars, but we'll see.
Who's to say that? Because I'm assuming there's an FCL championship happening soonish. Who's to say instead of
June something?
Instead of it,
weeks. Yeah.
Who's to say? I'm just throwing my creative minds out here. Who's to say that instead of making it a championship, the winner gets to join the Stars?
Possible. I mean, it's possible. It's definitely possible.
Because isn't the overall goal of the FCL to get into Schmoedown?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Just a thought, because where else would they pull from other than FCL?
Yeah, June 15th. Thank you, Robert. June 15th is the actual title match. So it's going to be very interesting. It's a very interesting predicament. We'll know more tomorrow for those who are a part of the Patreon. on the Schmoedown Patreon, you'll get to see Wednesday's match early, and the official announcement as to what's happening is there. For those who aren't part of the Patreon, don't spoil it, guys, because it's going to be involved in the match that's released publicly on Wednesday. You can talk about it with those who you know as part of the Patreon, who's seen it early, maybe in the chat, but save it for those who aren't a part of it to watch it on Wednesday, because it will be announced then, and we'll know some more details, and we'll talk about it. We'll obviously talk about it on Wednesday's reaction. We'll talk about it before Friday for sure, because the match is happening on Friday. It's a very quick turnaround. It's unfortunate because Mark Andraco is one of the longest active players in this league. He's been great for this league for such a long time. But like Molly said, he's having great success out of the league, and we wish him nothing but the best. And so it's a good thing, but yes, it is an unfortunate thing, but it is a good thing because he's obviously doing well, which is always a plus. So we'll save some more thoughts for that on Wednesday when we officially hear what's kind of happening. But for now, I think that's going to wrap up the show, ladies and gentlemen. We've had quite the show tonight. It's been a blast. To all 100 plus of you watching this entire time, thank you guys so much. Big shout out to Ben Bateman for coming on for quite a while, letting us pick his brain a bit. And again, congratulations to one Mike Kalinowski, who is the new IG champion of the world once again for Corruption, as we head into a new week full of new matches and yet another title on the line. And
we're going to be very busy this week.
Yep, there's a lot happening. Again, everyone, Saturday, Jill and Molly will be joined by the Scrimshaws. Saturday at 5 p.m. Pacific right here. You'll get to hang out with them, pick their brains, get some questions for them, have a good time, as well as the announcement once again. Ladies Appreciation Night is coming back on June 6th. It is coming. Mark it down, bookmark it, whatever you got to do. Save the date. And we will be joined by a lot of women inside the Schmoedown. It'll be a lot of fun. So, again, for everyone watching, thank you guys so much. Crew, I'll let everyone announce where they're online. Brian, I'll let you start. Where are you at?
Bia Valsino on Twitter and Apocalypse Movies. That's it.
Molly?
At Molly Damon on Twitter and Twitch. At Molly Mander, like Charmander on Instagram. I never plug my Instagram because I always feel weird doing it because it doesn't
Instagram
match.
Is the best, but it's the best.
There's a lot of Pippin and Hilo action on there. I will say
that's what I go for.
Pippin and Hilo action.
Yeah, I'll try to up that game. But yeah, and then you can always find me and Alex over on Star Wars Explained.
And Joe?
Jilly Marie 2E's on Instagram and Twitter. You can also sometimes find me over on the over at the PJ Campbell Network.
Schmoedown POV for the POV Twitter. If you have questions, Streamlab link. If you want to join our Patreon, it's right here. The link's in the description. A lot of cool things happening. We're actually doing a Twister watch along next week.
That's
Twister
right.
watch along.
I forgot.
A lot of fun. It was announced on Friday. So there you go. Twister watch along is happening. Real quick, Ben Bateman's in the chat. Thank you so much, Ben.
Sorry, I pulled it up. Sorry.
Appreciate you're good. Thank you, Ben. Can't wait
Check
to have
him
you
out
back
on
on the show, man.
Spotify.
Yeah.
Check him out on Spotify.
Check him on Spotify.
Qui-Gon Jake, 2 ends because someone else took it before I did. Apocalypse Movies, we're doing a National Treasure watch along this week if you're interested. So that'll be on that channel.
The secret lie. Does the secret lie with Charlotte?
It sure does, Jill. It sure does.
I think
and we'll be back.
JT might be joining us. Maybe.
Because they apparently people need to watch National Treasure.
Yeah.
Oh, and Brian reminded me, check out Dan Merle's All My Movies this week on Wednesday. You might find a certain couple of Damons on there talking about, I don't know, some movie.
Check that out.
Alien versus Predator. That's what they're going to be talking about. Son of the Mask.
Son of the Mask.
We'll be back on Wednesday for our Star Wars reaction. We'll be making predictions each day for the matches, and then back on Thursday for another one as well. So for the whole crew, to everyone watching, thank you guys so much. We'll catch you guys next time.